Welcome to part 2 of the Cybersecurity Career Search Series, Your Cybersecurity Career, Building Your Future. This presentation is an overview of career search tools. Primary career search tools most often used and even required in today's job market. First, most careers require some kind of online presence, such as a profile built out on LinkedIn. HR professionals and many times hiring managers will run a search online using your name to see what information and photos are available. Even in today's social media environment, it bears repeating. Don't allow anything to be posted online that does not reflect you at your best. First impressions are lasting impressions. Towards the end of your courses, a LinkedIn Skills and Projects handout is provided to you. Use this as a guideline for adding skills and projects to your LinkedIn profile. Ask your professors and your classmates to endorse these skills with a clearly worded request. Many industries still rely on a business card. As you provide a business card to someone, be professional and friendly. Avoid adding phrases that could discount this courtesy. Recently, I received a business card from a well-qualified professional. And as he handed it to me, he stated, "I don't know if you want this, but I have 2 more boxes to get rid of." Although I took this as his sense of humor, in a high-level job search, this could come across as a lack of self-confidence or worse. A branding introduction, or frequently it's been called an elevator pitch, can be a great networking tool, or it can be a quick way to slam the door shut, figuratively speaking. We'll discuss best practices for building and practicing a branding introduction in this presentation. Networking through offline activities is covered as well, and writing a targeted resume and the value of a well-written cover letter are also part of this presentation. So let's discuss the best practices for using social media, both as an online presence and as a networking tool. LinkedIn is considered the most professional site on social media. However, don't discount various sites that exist for businesses, including their own website and their Facebook profile. LinkedIn acts as both an online resume and as a way to connect with and contact your professional coworkers, friends, and employers. Building out your profile is an important step, and keeping it current is also just as important. Add NIST risk management framework aligned statements, skills, and projects to your LinkedIn profile. Use the handouts from your classes as a guide for identifying those items, but do not feel limited. You have many other skills that are transferable and relevant to the cybersecurity positions you are seeking. Be sure to keep adding skills to this section as appropriate. In LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to post articles that you've written, contribute to blogs, as well as starting your own discussions. Search for cybersecurity groups online and join those that are relevant. Whenever appropriate, contribute to those groups. Be sure to join your local chapters of ISA and any other related groups. Industry-related groups also provide additional networking opportunities. For example, WICT, Women in Cable and Telecom, is a group that, although not directly related to cybersecurity, offers networking opportunities within the industry to meet others who practice cybersecurity and hire for those positions at both cable and telecommunications corporations. Be sure to encourage conversation by asking questions that are relevant to cybersecurity. Everyone loves to be an expert, and so the best networking tool is listening. If you have cybersecurity-related information that will be additive to the discussion, be sure to effectively communicate that information. At these networking events and in meeting new people in your day-to-day activities, a well-thought-out and practiced personal branding introduction is invaluable. New acquaintances usually ask, "What do you do?" This is your chance to discuss what you do or want to do professionally. Be sure you know how to simply explain what you do, and that requires practice. So what does a personal branding introduction sound like? Well, it sounds like an extemporaneous, off-the-cuff answer to a question. Here's an example of a personal branding introduction delivered to a new acquaintance whose organization is hiring a cybersecurity team. Notice that the answer bends and includes information naturally and conversationally. As an ISSO, I would be applying the NIST risk management framework to an organization's system security planning activities. I've been ramping up my knowledge about the NIST RMF guidelines regarding the selection of security controls, and with my management experience over an IT department, it was logical to acquire my CAP certification and an MBA, which aligns me for my next career progression. Is your company using the NIST RMF currently? Notice I've used the 3 key pieces of information that you have there on the screen. The position being sought, providing an answer to what I can bring to your department, and asking a question that's designed to engage the listener. Now, a personal branding introduction should be conversational. It doesn't need to be delivered in one block or one breath. This information can be delivered throughout a conversation. What's most important is to engage your potential contact by asking questions and listening to the answers. Listening for cues as to what makes the organization need you. The most obvious tool in a job search is a resume. For best results with this ubiquitous tool, write a targeted resume. A resume that is aligned specifically to the job posting. Yes, for job fairs you will be using a cybersecurity focused resume that's used for each contact you make. However, when applying online, you have the ability to customize or target your resume to the specific job and company. You do that by analyzing the job posting and identifying those cybersecurity keywords, skills, experience, requirements, tasks, and knowledge. Once you've identified those, you're going to align that analysis with your course accomplishments and experience. And I'm talking about not just your experience in the practicums with our course, but also your real work experience. You're going to add those to your resume. Now remember, sometimes a job posting won't say NIST RMF. Instead, it might say create a system security plan. Be sure you use the same words, align directly with what the job posting states. Now here's a reminder of resume best practices. Use your most relevant information to the job position. There's no need to include your time waiting tables or your high school diploma. Avoid covering more than 10 years of past work experience. Some of us have had many decades of work. And quite frankly, that does age us. And some of that older work is not as relevant as the work we've accomplished in the past 10 years. There's no need to waste real estate on a formal objective statement or the references available upon request. What you want to do instead is highlight all of your cybersecurity pieces right at the beginning of the resume. So right at the top you've got your name and your contact information, and then the very next thing should be a branding or marketing statement, something right where the objective statement used to be, but it's a little bit more like that personal branding introduction we talked about earlier, something that highlights what you bring to the job that's unique. Use power words. Use all of your cybersecurity knowledge that you've covered, like NIST RMF steps 1 through 3, familiarity with FIPS 199, FIPS 200, those sorts of, whatever those pieces are that will really highlight and make you stand out. Then in the very next section should be your skills section. In those skills, you should definitely pull out and highlight all of your cybersecurity skills, both the ones that have been acquired in the classroom and in the internship practicum, but also those acquired that are transferable skills from your workplace. Cover letters should give a sense of your desire level for the position, your personality, and who you know. Cover letters are essentially how you get your foot in the door, and best practices include using your instructors as an in. Go ahead and drop names. Use your education as an in. Quote reference letters. Identify cybersecurity groups that you belong to. Highlight what your specific NIST RMF experience will do for their department or their company. Answer some of the following questions. Now, we'll cover each example in detail. So, let's say you're asked the question, what are you doing to be job ready for this position? Oftentimes, interviewers ask that, or sometimes when you're at a networking event or at a job fair, you'll get asked this question. Here's a couple of examples of how to answer that question. I'm studying and applying the NIST Risk Management Framework through a unique program offered through Concordia University at St. Paul. Another way to answer that question would be, as a part of my MBA course studies, my emphasis in cybersecurity has provided me with experience in applying the NIST Risk Management Framework. I have an e-portfolio for you to review of my accomplishments. In your classes, remember, you have a handout that is given to you about how to create an e-portfolio. Be sure that you're continuing to add to your portfolio as you go through this program. Here's another question. What have you accomplished in the program? Here's a couple of answers. I've become familiar with the NIST RMF documentation, history, and application to various industries such as healthcare, finance, and the intelligence community. Or another example of an answer would be, I've produced an example of analyzing a system, completing security control selection, and a poem for implementation. I'd be happy to apply this skill for your department. So use your MCI and CSP networks. Make sure you look at Blackboard for your course instructor contact information or look in your syllabus. Request reference letters from your instructors. Be sure you set up some one-on-one time with your instructor to get some information on job search, different types of positions that you might want to apply for. Ask your instructor, what position do you think I would be qualified for? Be sure to network with your peers both at work and in the classroom. Once again, let me remind you, join those groups on LinkedIn and join your local ISA chapter. So be sure you download your cybersecurity career search checklist from Blackboard. I want to thank you so much for your time and for your excellence.